Hello and welcome to the next episode of this late night thing. Remember how last time we talked about Ferrari winning the first and second positions, and some people had doubts about that? Might have been due to Red Bull messing up, but this time they're back at second and third. And that's really something for Ferrari especially. As with lots of other people saying, it's the same for me, that I would much rather watch Charles Leclerc with Max Verstappen versus just Lewis and Max battling it out in the first and second, keep switching between them. So yeah, this year might actually be really exciting. The next thing that also links to my previous video is the Top Gear reviews with 10 out of 10. What I notice here is that a lot of these cars are Ferraris. There's the LaFerrari, there's this 296 GTB, which also I want to talk about. Then there's of course the 250 GTO. There's also the first Ferrari that changed everything for the newer ones, the 458 Italia. The 296 GTB is really interesting. Ferrari came out saying it's gonna have a hybrid V6. And V6 in a Ferrari, if you think about it, that's half of the number of cylinders that the LaFerrari has, which is also on the 10 out of 10 list. For many, the V12 is the essential supercar engine. Like my car has a 6-cylinder engine. There's no way a Ferrari should have that. But times are changing, so they had to do that, and it's really amazing what they have done with it. First of all, the way it sounds. The engineers at Ferrari have been referring to it as the baby V12 because it has some of the nuances of a V12 engine, and all the reviews that I watched, I could actually sense that. At times it would sound like a V12, but then you know it's a V6. And tremendous amounts of horsepower because it's obviously forced induction and also a hybrid. This car should have been a lot more complicated, but somehow it feels really playful. There was an interview here with the Ferrari boss where he was saying how it's more important to them how the car feels than outright performance. And this really, the 296 GTB really reflects that. The SF90 was, I didn't drive it, but from all the people who reviewed it, it was a bit too numb, a bit too complicated. They couldn't really have fun in it. But in this car, the code word, the main word that comes along is fun. So I'm really happy about that. Moving on, another interesting thing I saw was somebody built a bulletproof Aston Martin Vantage. Why though? It's bulletproof, and yeah, so there's a thick panel of glass over there. Was there a need for this car? I mean, James Bond already has one. Looks great otherwise though. Looks pretty normal. And speaking of looks, here's a new Mansory customized car. It's the F8. I think it's the F8. Yep, F8 Spyder. It's not as, yeah, so it's, for the first time, it's not as bad as their other cars, but I mean, I could see Ferrari actually making this as a Speciale edition if they removed all these highlighted skirts and everything, but the main scoop on the hood, putting a black carbon fiber trim around that it's not really classy. But otherwise, it's not bad. Could have been worse, especially since it's by Mansory. Next. So this actually came out during the filming of the first episode of this late night thing, but I didn't want to talk about it back then. It's the new Maserati SUV. It's Grecale, I don't know how you pronounce that. It's gonna rival the Porsche Macan and the X4. Look at it though, it doesn't look like Maserati have designed some really nice cars. They've had the Gran Turismo, they've had the Quattroporte, and then even the newer one. But this, I don't know, I'm not a big fan of it. I don't know why all the SUVs today don't really look like something that tough or something that can go off-road. I mean, this looks like a hatchback, honestly. The pictures on topgear.com are not the best, but I still don't like this car. I don't know why they're making so many. There was a comment here by somebody. I don't understand this car. It looks like an SUV but slammed, so it's more like a normal hatchback. Exactly. Why do you need an SUV? I'm probably gonna make a video on that too. But these cars can't go off-road, and they don't even have that much luggage capacity. There are state cars, there are station wagons that can hold more. And why would you not drive in a station wagon? Why do people not want a station wagon? They are better dynamically, they have better mileage, look a lot cooler too. I don't know, I'm not a big fan of this SUV trend. And then speaking of it, there's the Purosangue, the new Ferrari SUV that's about to come out. So this is a teaser, but somehow we know how the car is gonna look. Somebody leaked it. When it leaked, I thought maybe it might look like that, maybe it might be different, but this confirms it. It's gonna look exactly like that. And I'm actually fine with how it looks from the front. There's a small weird wedge on the side, which I don't know why Ferrari would do. But yeah. This car actually might be pretty fun. Might be a good SUV. I mean, it's not an SUV, might be a good crossover. They're all crossovers. None of them are real SUVs. But yeah, this is probably gonna be the only one that can put a smile on some of the purists' face, which probably it won't do because it's a Ferrari, and that would set their backs on fire. It's a bit sad how all these companies, Ferrari, Lamborghini, Aston Martin. Speaking of Lamborghini, there have been spy shots of something that looks like a replacement for the Aventador, and it's rumored, or I guess we know it, to have a V12. Pretty excited for it. I remember waiting for the launch of the Aventador. I used to look at the spy shots of that as well. It looks interesting, doesn't look bad. I know it has some cues from the Cyan, which I was not a big fan of, but somehow it looks good on this car. There's also another spy car going around that's dressed as an Aventador, which I think might be the last edition of the Aventador. The big change I think is it's gonna have the retractable spoiler back, which the first Aventador had, the LP700. And I was a big fan of it. I loved the way it used to rise up at higher speeds, and this seems to have that too. Especially looks really good from this angle. I love the stance of the Aventador. So low and wide and sleek and sharp. I just wish it was more fun dynamically, like you could drift it and stuff. And I wish it was a bit lighter. It's really heavy. But this might be a really good send-off to the Aventador. Lamborghini's YouTube channel, they also released a trailer about something ultimate coming. Yeah, Ultimate is dropping soon. And it seems to be the last Ultimate Aventador until it gets replaced by this car, which also looks pretty cool. So yeah, that's it for this one. These are the things that I wanted to talk about on this episode. Until next time.